Hello everyone and welcome to Shelf Space. I'm your host Ron13 and today we are reviewing the HG RX-9C Narrative Gundam C-Packs. It's been a little while since we've looked at the world of Gundam Narrative, but I picked up this kit a little while ago and I'm excited that I finally got to build it and show it off to you guys. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the box. So to start off, we got cool illustration of the Narrative Gundam with its C-Packs setup, where it has all of this cool Psycho Frame stuff that looks suspiciously like the Psycho Frame off the Unicorn Gundam, but it's not. I don't know why. We got the Phoenix in the background there, and the Sinanju Stein and Neo Zeong Mark II? Not Mark II, Neo Zeong 2, just that. In the background there. And got the neat little gold line thing going there. I like how that looks. Just some very nice packaging design from the folks at Bandai. Speaking of which, blue Bandai logo. Bandai Spirits 2019. Got the Gundam NT logo there and the Gundam NT logo up there. Cool stuff. On this side, we have some cool painted illustrations, photographs of the Narrative Gundam, showing all the different things it can do. If you want to read this stuff, feel free. Here it shows all the things it comes with. Here it's sort of showing off the articulation that it has. On this side, we have same illustration as the front. We have HD UC Gundam Narrative number 222. So that's cool. I didn't realize this had a triple number thing going on there. That's neat. Then on this side, we have a little blurb about Gundam Narrative, specifically the C-Packs. See it going up against the Neo Zeong 2 with Sinanju Stein in it. All the usual warning information, barcode thing, and still no yen price, still not centered. I don't understand why. There has to be a graphic artist in Japan that's pulling their hair out because, for whatever reason, they are not being allowed to center this over it. I don't understand. On this side, same as the other, but we have the Bluefin sticker. But enough of the box. Let's take a look at the actual kit. And here it is. And I got two things that I want to say right off the bat. First, there's a part on here that doesn't belong. Go ahead, post in the comments if you can figure out what it is. Except for you, Shoki. I already told you what it is. I'll tell you what it is at the end of the video. I'm just curious who's going to guess the right thing. Second, I really like this kit. This came out really, really well. And I seem to remember when I built the Narrative Gundam Apex that I thought the Gundam part itself was really, really cool too. So I'm happy to see that this one is basically just as cool as it, which isn't too surprising because it is very, very similar to the Apex version. There's only a few parts that have been changed out to make room for well, I say a few parts. There's quite a few parts that have been changed. But basically, the main thing is that it's been set up so that way you can include all of these bits for the Psycho Frame. But structure, engineering-wise, it's the same kit. But let's go ahead and go over articulation since it has been a little while since we've looked at this guy. So we're going to start off on the head like we usually do. He does have green eye stickers, but they're kind of hard to see because of the lighting. Not to mention they're just really small to begin with, so it's hard to see. He does actually have a alternative set of red eyes, and maybe those would have shown up a little better, but I wanted to go with green on this. He's got the fun little split V-fin thing. I still have the safety flags on it. I may take those off at some point because they do interfere a little bit. But this is designed to sort of invoke the new Gundam, if I remember correctly, because supposedly this thing was sort of a prototype of sorts for it. But one of the things that this head shows off is the phenomenal color separation here. The red is actually red plastic. These little gray bits are actually gray plastic. The little blue bit there is blue plastic. The AV fin is yellow plastic. That's amazing. It does have a little camera sticker back here. There's supposed to be a camera sticker up here, but I could not get it to stick, and whenever I basically sandwiched the helmet pieces on, it kept sliding off, and eventually it just wouldn't stick anymore. So I tossed it, and it's barely noticeable, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Articulation-wise, he can rotate around. Nothing's really restricting it. So you can almost go full exorcist if you want. It's got the same sort of double ball socket. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't have the ball socket joint. I apologize. It has a ball socket joint where the head meets the neck, but it has a little hinge at the bottom, which I guess makes it a little bit more stable. Also provides a little bit of a better looking up, I guess, which basically is a holdover from when it needed to be able to do that for the Apex. The shoulders are neat because they have a neat sort of butterfly joint. Let's see if I can get it to actually come out. There we go. You sort of pull it out and out like that. Very similar to what we've seen in like the Buster frame, or sorry, the guard frame. Buster frame is what I call my custom of it. And the, what was it? The GBN Gundam. So that adds some nice extra bit of articulation. And you have ball socket joint into, was it the sort of standard shoulder polycap with a little bit of a hinge there so you can get an increased range of motion. Standard rotation there and moving around. The elbow is single jointed, and that's something we noticed with the original narrative. But you still get a fairly decent bend with it, so it's not too horrible. You also have rotation here at the forearm, so that's kind of cool. And rotation at the bicep. I know I keep forgetting that one. And then you also have rotation and ball socket movement for the hands, and you do have swappable hands, well, at least for two different holding hands. In the torso, you have some neat jointing to get a really nice looking ab crunch. It was a lot of fun for me to play with when I was building this thing. And you can rotate around quite a bit. So far, so good. The legs are pretty standard HG fare. Stationary butt flap. The front skirts are joined, but you can separate them. Go up about like that. You can kick up about 90 degrees or so. And you got a fairly decent double jointed knee. You do get a little bit of interference from armor, but again, pretty decent and about what you would expect from a modern HG. The ankle is a ball socket joint with some extra hinging to allow for pretty decent set of movement. And the little armor, if you could call it that, is on its own little hinge there, so you can position it as you need. Altogether, this adds up to a figure with some pretty decent posability. Combine that with the fact that it feels fairly strong together. It's a very decent figure. Let's see if I can get them posed nicely and use a lot of those joints. Almost got sort of like a Super Saiyan power-up thing going on here. Ah! If I was better at editing, I would have like a Super Saiyan effect going. Just use your imagination. Okay. Next up, let's talk about accessories. He doesn't come with a whole lot, but he does have neat looking blaster. I mean, I say neat looking. It's got some unique features to it, but it's not very much a standout looking thing. As you can see, I already have it connected to its holding hand. And if I remember correctly, this thing just sort of slots into it, so it stays pretty darn stable. So to put that on, you just pop off the other hand, pop that on, and there you go. Now he's ready to go pew pew pew. And we also have his shield, which looks pretty darn cool. I imagine some of this stuff is probably supposed to be colored gray or something, but I don't mind too much. And in order to get this attached the way I like it, you rotate the forearm, which you can't see because it went out of focus. And then you can just slide this on. And there it goes. And that looks really cool. It'd be neat if these little panels here could articulate. Because obviously they're supposed to be like the little fins or whatever you want to call them on the shield for the unicorn. In fact, again, I really think that at one point in the design process, all of this stuff was supposed to be off of the unicorn, and then they decided that wasn't going to be the case. But so yeah, it would be neat if these could move a little bit, but no, they're stationary, and I don't think they even moved in the anime, so I can't really hold that against them. But yeah, this guy looks super cool, all decked out with his stuff. He does have beam sabers that store up here, and you can use just the standard beam sabers that it comes with. This one has, what, the SB13 runner, which is basically your basic beam sabers.
Actually, it comes with its own bespoke beam sabers, not the standard ones. You'd know that if you paid attention to your own unboxing. Also, I totally knew you would need me at some point.
But you don't really need to see that because you've seen beam sabers. And frankly, I think this looks really cool like this, and we don't need the sword, which is weird coming from me because I really like swords, but I don't tend to display these guys with their beam sabers that often. But yeah, final thoughts wise, I dig this thing. I seem to remember saying that I thought the Gundam, the narrative Gundam itself, was pretty darn cool when it came with the Apex, even just by itself. But this version is phenomenal. It looks cool. Articulation is pretty decent. It is a nice, solid figure when completed, and it just looks really, really good. So highly recommended for anybody that wants a Protag Gundam, that wants a Gundam, that wants just to build Gunpla. I think this is a fun build and you would enjoy it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Check the description below for links to my storefront where you can get official shelf space t-shirts and more. And yeah, once again, thank you, and I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space. That's the part.